Hello, this is a short introductory video for Python on Wheels. I will show you the default workflow and we will create a short to-do application using a NoSQL database, generating a handler and scaffolding our Bootstrap 4 views. So we have gone through the workflow once completely. I will not go into details for the single steps. If you're interested in digging deeper into handling models, handlers, creating APIs, just check the documentation here. You see it's quite a lot of documentation for models, for handlers, creating the APIs, deployment, and other stuff about that. Okay, so let's start right away. The goal is to make this only a few minutes to see that it's really quick to get up and running. First, you need to install Python on Wheels. You do that using pip install -u Python on Wheels. I've already done that, as you might have guessed. That'll give us the generate app script, and we'll use that to generate our application. So say generate app -n, give it a name, to do in this case, and we give it a path by saying -p. And for us, it's okay. Just do it right here. As you can see, that Python Wheels generated the application structure, the directory structure, put all the needed modules in there, and that's basically it. One thing is important: you have to make sure that your chosen directory is in the Python path. Otherwise, Python Wheels will not be able to load the modules. So that's it. And the recommendation is to create a virtual environment to separate the Python on Wheels dependencies from your normal Python environment. Okay, that's it. So we can switch into our directory, activate the virtual environment, and install the requirements of Python on Wheels. You do that using pip install -r requirements text. That'll install the require modules for Python on Wheels for database management, for validation, servers, for instance, SQL Alchemy, markup, and JSON handling, everything we need. So this is done. And that's basically it. This is how the directory structure looks like. We're looking at it in Visual Studio.code. It's a little nicer, but you can see here all the generators that we use in the future. So this is already able to serve a Python on Wheels application. Let's start the server using Python server.py, and we can go to localhost 8080 to check if it's running. And okay, that works. You see here that there was a GET request, and it calls the index handler to render the index view. That's just what we see here. But we wanted to develop a to-do application, and for that we first need a model to store our to-do data, and we use the generate model script for that. We give it a name it to-do, and we can choose the database type we just want. In this case, we choose TinyDB. It's a file-based NoSQL database. We could also have set SQL then or MongoDB or whatever, but in this case TinyDB is okay. As you can see, that generates a model for us in the model subdirectory for the TinyDB database, and it's called to-do. Let's have a look at that. Models, TinyDB, and here's our to-do model. And so this is how model looks like in Python on Wheels. It's always the same definition schema. No matter if it's MongoDB, a SQL DB, Elasticsearch, whatever, or TinyDB in this case, we use Cerberus schemas to define models. That's not only easy because it's always the same syntax, but it also gives us validation using the Cerberus library. So this is okay. It has a title. We just rename text to task, but it's also a string. We could add tags as a list, and we have votes. That's okay. We just keep it like that. To access our model, we now need a handler. And in Python on Wheels, of course, we use a generator for that. and now comes the convention over configuration into play, like Ruby on Rails. If we give it the same name and we specify that it's a TinyDB model, we have a TinyDB model, then it'll find the TinyDB model automatically and link to that. Oh, and we forgot something. We want a REST handler because we want the typical create, read, update, delete methods already created for us as well. We don't want to write the whole boilerplate, so we add that. And now we first you saw it created a simple handler that would be almost empty, just using the model, and now we got a REST handler having all the necessary methods. Let's have a look at how this looks. It's all handlers are in the handlers directory. We have the to-do handler here, and you see it uses the add REST routes decorator, which will create these routes for us already automatically. And it also has the according methods to show, list, edit, create a new model and stuff. And it is automatically linked to our TinyDB to-do model we just created. It has it internally, so it's really able to handle that. So that's nice. We have a model now. We can store data in a database already. We have a handler and an API, but we don't have any views. So let's add some views. Again, as you might know from Ruby on Rails, we can scaffold here. So we use the generate scaffold script and say the views should be named to do as well. And then again, that's the convention over configuration. The handler will automatically know how to call the right view, including the right model. And we say it's a Bootstrap 4 view. And this creates the views for us to show, list, page, edit, and create new views. And that's it, we're done. We have created a model, a handler, which also created a REST API for us, and views. Now we start the server again. As you can see, here are all the new routes created for us automatically using the REST API handler. So we could say /todo, and then it'll call the to-do handler, or we can say list or show or whatever. Okay, let's test that. We say /todo. This is the list view, as you can see here, and we don't have any to-dos yet, so it's empty, but we can create one here. And you see this is automatically generated for us as well. We have the task, so it takes the model attribute and renders the according right form types for it, input types. So let's create a first to-do. Our first to-do task. Make an intro video tags Python. Oh, and I've pressed enter, so he created it already. That's okay. Let's go back to the list. You can see some things here. First of all, we now have our first to do. It's in the list view, so it's in the database. It finds it when it queries the database and displays it here. You can also see that the tags were type list, and I just typed one word, but it made a list out of it, and it got an ID. We have the show method here, so you can see the details. We have also created at and last updated, and again an ID and a UUID created for us. We can add it, so we can say, okay, I vote that up. Let's say it has one vote. That's pretty good. Update the to-do, and it has a vote. We can also delete it, but I don't do this right now. Show you one more thing. So normally the to-do list application is done. We make one more. Second to-do task, and the intro video text, none, votes 0, no, 12. Create back. So we see we have 2 here. One last thing is to show you that you can use that on the command line, of course, as well. We can say from to do models tinydb to do import to do. That's the real model. We create an instance. So that's an empty to do, but we can also use that to, it has several methods. This is the API, and you see that there are like get all, find all methods, and we can say, okay, result is t dot find all from the database. It queries the database and finds all results, and we can say for lm in res print lm, and you see we have two to-dos here and the intro. So this is really what we had. Yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoy it. That's how you work with Python on Wheels. Pretty easy, almost effortlessly in no time, from zero to a fully running web application which is database based. Thanks a lot. Check the homepage, PythonOnWheels.org. There's always something new. I'm really working on that. Goodbye.